All right, E92 E93 specifically, LCI headlights. These are gonna get opened up, blacked out, and a new lens. Although this one is actually in pretty good shape, except for the scratches on here, but doesn't matter. Now the problem with the LCI ones is that you have to cut these open. You can put them in an oven, but it takes ridiculously long time, and you will end up burning your fingers and hurting yourself. I am going to clean up these headlights first before I start any work. Just using some wet wipes to clean them up. That way no debris or anything gets inside as I'm working on it. The cleaner the surface, the better. You can start by removing this little plastic trim piece on top. It just pushes out. So I recommend getting a new one for these because when you put a new lens, these just look very old in front of it. That's done. I'm gonna get a wet wipe and just clean the whole surface.
Audio Jungle.
Alright, now that I've cleaned it all up, the lens doesn't really matter because it's gonna come off. When you take the eyelid off, you can see all the mounting screws. I mean, essentially, this gray section and the eyelid all are mounted to the face, to the outside lens, while the projectors and indicator all stay on the back. You'll see when I open it up. These are basically forced together by a bunch of these metal clips right here. Be careful, do not lose these whatsoever because they are very valuable in order to reseal the light. Just squeeze a flathead in there, one that actually works, and pop them all open. They will spring out, so put your hand over the other one or a rag or something just to protect yourself.
Audio Jungle.
Unlike other headlights, these don't have any screws that hold it together. It's all just a seal. But in our case, we are cutting these open because it is faster. The owner of these lights has new lenses, so I don't care about these lenses anymore, although they're in pretty good shape. They could be restored with some wet sanding and buffing, but at this point it does not matter because they're gonna get destroyed. Grab a Dremel, grab the forged I forget what they're called, but they're like these mesh kind bits. They're reinforced plastic cutting bits. I can't remember exactly, but they work very well. They last pretty long. And yeah, just go to town. Cut. Do not cut at the black plastic. Do not touch that. Be very careful because that is what helps seal it together. Keep as little plastic left, obviously, but also be mindful of the two screw points over here, these two, and around the corners. Things get a little tight there, but otherwise it's pretty straightforward. I mean, obviously you're gonna see in here how it gets done, and here goes everything.
Audio Jungle.
While you're working on this, grab a flathead screwdriver, jam it in there. Sounds horrible, but you gotta do it. And just break apart all the melted plastic that gets fused back together. You will hurt yourself, so I recommend wearing gloves. But there we go. This was actually a very clean cut here, so there's not much that needs to be done. There we go. So that entire top area is completely free now. I'm going to cut this front edge now. Yeah, you can cut along this edge, the upper area. That way it's a lot easier to peel off the rest of the plastic that's inside.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Top edge is, bottom edge, sorry, is basically done, but there's a lot of melted plastic, so gotta.
Audio Jungle.
All right, most of it's out, so for now I'll leave it. Now I just got this corner left. Again, be careful of the mounting screws over here. Stay as close to the edge as possible, and be careful with the corner up here. All right, almost there. Got this one last corner up here. It should be good to go.
Audio Jungle.
Oh, and the eyelet is connected somewhere around here, I believe, somewhere right here, with one little clip. But once you break off all the bottom off, flip it upside down on itself, and unclip it. It's not that tight or that intricate.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
It's getting caught on the piece of plastic over here, but I'm getting kind of lucky here where the entire lens is coming apart. Oh, never mind, it broke. So, maneuver this off slowly. Beware of the wire. There we go. This wire right here. There's your piece. Now for the blackout, you're removing 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 4 screws. Yeah, 4 screws. The eyelet in the lower section comes off on its own. I will move on to that later. So let's do this first. Once I find my knife. They're very tiny Torx bits. I don't know honestly what size it is. My knife comes with a set, so I'm just using this because it's faster. Also, be careful of the lenses you order. Some don't really fit the best. Ideally order from the US or from Bimmer Jakes. I think they're the best OE replacement option. You can always do Alibaba, AliExpress, and whatnot. They're hit and miss. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. This is officially junk. Throw this out, make it a wallpaper, whatever you want, don't care. Now, as for this guy. Removing the insides is very straightforward. One screw, indicator first, 1, 2, 3. Bolt comes off. There's a white shroud inside, that comes off with the lens. Second piece. The halo is not bolted in at all. This is held in by one screw here and that second screw up here. It pops right off. There's a little clip on the inside for the low beam. And the halo ring is just clipped in to the top, and that's it. As for the high beam, same thing. I think 3 screws, one here, one at the bottom, one at the top. Halo comes off with a clip up top, and it just slides back in here. That's the easy part. take it off, paint everything whatever color you want, and do the rest. Now this is the difficult part. You have to now scrape up all of the molten plastic, or shards of plastic from inside of it. It is a very tedious, very slow, very painful job. Just go slow, be patient, don't rush it, don't try to break anything in the way. Your goal is to not affect the outer black plastic whatsoever. I got lucky here where it started for me. Now it's gotta get a screwdriver in, start prying. Start prying, and then it'll get out eventually.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
This is what's left of the light. Everything came off. This was surprisingly not that bad, but as you can see, try your best to get as many as one piece as possible. One thing I did learn was a good way of trying to get all together is when you have a piece, where does this go? I don't even know. Okay. When you have a piece stuck inside, jam a screwdriver like this and run it along. That gives it some even pressure and reduces the chance of the pieces breaking off into like multiple little pieces. But as you can see, it all came off. It will come off eventually, so because it has to for the new light. Now is the tedious job of actually scraping off all the permaseal inside. Use a blade, use a flathead, use whatever you need, but scrape as much as you can off, because it will not stick after that if you leave it in, if you leave too much in there. Now I'm going to take apart all the pieces I want to paint black, and we'll move forward from there.
Audio Jungle.
That's light completely disassembled. Clean your projector. Dust gets formed on the outer lens, as you can see. It's hard to see, but there's dust on the inside and on the outside, so clean those out. These ones, there's no point painting this. Just paint the white on the back. They'll automatically diffuse the look. And yeah, that's it. I'm going to paint these up and then get back to reassembly. Alright. Got all the sealant out, well, at least as much as I could. It's pretty clean in there. I want to put the new sealant in there later, that way it's not like attracting dirt and dust. I've painted all the pieces, as you can see. Here's one of them. Here's the indicator housing. It's just like a semi-gloss black. And yeah, I'm going to start putting everything back together. That's the high beam shroud, and go from there.
Audio Jungle. 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 Audio Jungle.
Alright, this is what I'm using for the sealant around the headlight. You can get this at any like windshield replacement shop, or any tool store should have some sort of like that auto windscreen replacement tape. It's called butyl. That's the main thing that you need to figure out. And yeah, they react with heat, and it's pretty soft as you can see. And as you put more heat, it softens up. All you want is a thin bead around the whole edge. Heat it up, and there should be plenty enough to seal the headlight back together.
Audio Jungle.
Alright, now we're gonna heat it up. Put a thin nozzle on it and high heat. That way, or use a hairdryer, whatever you have. You just need to basically soften it up so that it sits back into its position, and then get the lens and slap it on your.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Grab a pair of pliers, squeeze certain spots, put the clips back in, and that's it. I'll heat it up again after I'm done. That way it sits in place.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
And there we have it. Black LCI E93 headlights.